Good day, everyone. Organizations will succeed or fail depending on the environment that confronts them. The manager of a particular business organization is not entirely helpless. He can do something about the environment or make some adjustments in the organization. Managing the environment requires a clear orientation and an understanding of factors in the environment that affect business and the application of the right strategies to harness these factors to a business firm's advantage. And this video talks about the environment of business firms. Now, before we go to the external environment, let us first discuss the main function of the business firm, right? So the business firm is a transformer of outputs like products and services. And the recipient of the products or services is the external environment. The external environment is the provider of inputs to the business firm. What are the inputs? The raw materials, money, labor, energy. All right. Okay. For example, a business of banana chips. So banana chips business. What is the output? It's the product, banana chips. Okay. And who are the recipients of the banana chips? Okay, the external environment, the consumers. Right. On the other hand, who are the providers of raw materials, money, labor, and energy for the business firm to produce banana chips? Okay, from the external environment, like suppliers of bananas, okay, the farmers. They supply banana to the firm, also money from the financial institutions, from the banks. So that's the external environment of the business. Labor, okay, the manpower, that's from the external environment of the business. And energy, okay, like power. So that's from the external environment. Right. So that's the main function of the business firm. That's why it is very important that the business firm has to know its external environment. Okay? Take note that the environmental factors that affect the activities of the organization may be internal or external. But internal environment can be managed by the business, whereas external environment, the external environment, because the business has less control over the external environment. That's why the business firm has to study, has to deal properly with its external environment because there are factors that could affect it. Right. Now, let's go to the external environment. Okay. So there are two elements that compose the external environment. We have the direct action elements and the indirect action elements. First, let's deal with the direct action elements. Direct action elements directly influence the organization. These include the consumers, competitors, labor unions, suppliers, financial institutions, and government agencies. Whereas the indirect action elements do not affect the organization directly. Instead, they affect the climate in which the operations of the organization take place. These are the technological, economic, political, legal, sociocultural, and international variables. Okay. So, what the organizations can achieve will depend much on the direct action components of the external environment. However, the organization's strategy and tactics may modify the elements. These elements are first consumers, okay, or customers. Customer patronage is very vital to the existence of the business firm. The manager must continuously strive to keep old customers and attract new ones. It is not easy to deal with many customers because they are different in many ways. A customer could be an individual, an institution, like a school, a government agency, a business firm, or a social club. The differences among customers and market situations will require varied approaches in selling. The modern manager makes careful analysis of the market, and based on his findings, he makes decisions on the appropriate marketing strategy. Okay, because customers or consumers are the lifeblood of the business. Without customers, the business firm will surely be not successful, will close because nobody will buy or patronize its products. Next, the competitors. In determining the appropriate marketing strategy, the manager of a business firm will have to consider not only the target customers, but also the competitors. The target market share can be successfully achieved through careful analysis of competitors. So competitors may either be direct or indirect. Okay, so when we talk about direct competitors, those companies that offer the same products, right? Like coffee. So direct competitors for coffee are those corporations or companies that sell coffee, where indirect competitors of coffee are those companies that sell the same beverage, but not necessarily coffee. Okay, but for the purpose of quenching the thirst or whatsoever. So the intensity of competition will differ from one situation to another. As such, the marketing strategy of any business firm will depend on any of the following situations. So we have monopoly competition, where there is only a single producer or seller. So when the product or service is only provided by one company, that is called monopoly. For example, electricity. So that is monopoly. Another is oligopoly, when there are only a few producers or sellers of similar products. Okay? And pure competition, where there are many producers or sellers of similar products. So again, competitions, three competitions. We have situations, we have monopoly, where there is only a single producer. Oligopoly, there are only a few producers or sellers of similar products. And third, pure competition, where there are many producers or sellers of similar products. Okay, next, the labor unions. Okay. The labor supply, so the services of managers and employees are indispensable requirements of business operations. These services are in a way procured through recruitment and hiring by the human resource specialists of business firms. As the need for worker skills and experiences vary, different means are used in locating qualified workers. In companies where workers are members of unions, collective bargaining has become a common undertaking. In this activity, management and labor negotiate wages, benefits, working conditions, working hours, grievance procedures, and so on. Okay, next, suppliers. Business firms achieve their objectives through a combination of activities. First and foremost is the transformation of production inputs like raw materials, services, energy, equipment, and labor into usable products or services. Suppliers provide these inputs. As such, business firms must maintain good relationship with suppliers if they want on-time deliveries of inputs. Okay? So suppliers are very important to the business because they provide you the necessary products, raw materials, services, equipment, energy in order for you to uh, make or in order for you to have your finished product. Okay? In order for you to provide goods, products to the customers. Suppliers provide us inputs. As such, okay, you have to maintain good relationship with your suppliers. Business firms compete with each other in obtaining these inputs in the same manner that suppliers compete with each other to get supply contracts. The business firm, through its purchasing officer, takes advantage of the competition among suppliers to obtain lower prices, better quality of products and services, faster deliveries, and better after-sales service. Okay, so after-sales is also important, especially for technology, for equipment. Okay, that's important. Next, financial institutions. Business firms are concerned with maintaining or expanding their operations. In either case, the company will need funds. The expansion option could be opening a new branch, adding a new product to its line, or purchasing a lot or new equipment. Any of these moves will require financing through borrowing money on a short-term or long-term basis. As such, a company planning to expand its business must be well regarded by financial institutions such as commercial banks, development banks, and other lending institutions. Notwithstanding goodwill, however, financial institutions change policies without warning and without regard to the effect of such change in the operations of business firms. So this being the case, managers consider lending institutions as useful only when these financial institutions are not in trouble. Okay, so financial institutions are important to the business firms, especially if they need capital. They need additional funds to the business for expansion, for procurement of new equipment, and so on. Right? Next, we have government agencies. In many ways, business organizations are affected by changes in government policies. From the enactment of laws to the granting of business permits, the viability of business firms could be enhanced or limited by actions of government agencies. So the business firm should also be watchful with the new rules, regulations, and policies of the government or in the city where the business operates. Now let's go to the indirect action plans or action elements. First we have is the technological variables. Technology has become widely recognized as an important ingredient in the success of business firms and manager who does not consider the technological variable in his strategy faces the risk of losing out to competitors. Technology refers to the tools and ideas that may be used by an organization to pursue its goals. A business firm, for instance, may use a new invention or an innovation to increase its market share or to develop a new market for its products. Examples of innovations are those happening in the telecommunications industry. So these include advances in communication technology, such as calling and text services using cellular phones, right? So because the telecommunications company is greatly affected with technology. Okay, the best example for technological advancement is the telecommunications company. Now we have the economic variables. The economy is a very important element in business pursuits. Even if the company has the edge in technology and financial capability over its competitors, it may not be so successful if the economy does not allow it. When managers make business decisions, economic conditions must be taken into consideration. This concern will touch on the health of the economy in terms of inflation, income levels, gross domestic product, employment, and job outlook. Because of the importance of the economic variables, business managers are required to devote time and resources to forecasting the economy and to anticipate changes in important concerns like prices. Okay, so the best example for economic variables like what is happening nowadays due to pandemic, the economy of not only in this country, but I think the economy around the world is greatly affected. So inflation is very high. Because of that, employment rate is very high too, right? And the purchasing power of the people, of the consumers, is very low. Okay, so that's inflation. And even if, as I have said earlier, even if the company has the edge in technology and financial capability over its competitors, it may not be so successful if the economy does not allow it. Next, we have political legal variables. This consists of laws and regulations promulgated and implemented at the local, national, and international levels. Also included in this element are individuals and organizations that attempt to influence the political or legal environment. Okay. And socio-cultural variables. Business organizations can only flourish if they consider society's customs and values in the planning and implementation of their activities. So it is also very important that the business firm has to consider the socio and cultural values and the city, in the municipality, or the community the business is operating. Okay. So next we have the international variables. This element includes changes occurring in various parts of the world, which may affect business organizations in various ways and degrees. For local businesses, what happens overseas may be of little concern to them, unless they plan to operate globally. There are some instances when this element cannot be disregarded. For instance, a foreign government may ban the entry of products coming from countries, okay, from a certain country. So if that is the case, some of the products from that certain country may be affected. So it is wise for the manager of a business organization to pay some attention to developments around the world. In doing so, he may have sufficient time to prepare for whatever will affect its business. So the international variables will only affect the business if it is doing globally, like the business is into import or export. Okay, so because for if you are going to export your products to other countries, what if the country that uh, you are going to sell your products will ban the products of the country you are coming from? So of course, your sales will be greatly affected. And when you are into business of importing products, so what if the country, your home country, will ban the products from that certain country? So your raw materials will be affected. As a result, you cannot make a finished product. All right. So that's all for the uh, business environment, especially the external environment. Thank you for watching this video and listening to my discussion. Thank you very much.